Hello, this is Dr. L. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use Java string class. So let's kind of talk about what is a string class. So in Java, there's no primitive data type that can hold a series of character. Now there is a jar which can only hold one single character at a time. But if you want to store like something like a name or an address or name of a city or a state which contain more than one character, then you can't really use the jar. So basically what you do is you can use the string class. Now string class is a part of the Java standard library, okay? And the way we use this is now first thing is of course you have to declare a variable of type string. So like in this statement when I look at this, so have a variable which is named name and its type is string. Now make sure that you kind of keep this in mind that the strings start with an uppercase S, and Java is case sensitive, so if you type lowercase s then it's not going to work. Um, the reason it starts with an uppercase because it's a class, and by convention name of all the classes in Java always starts with uppercase S. Okay, so once we create a variable of type string, we can assign it some data. So like in this case, so I can either assign it like a literal value which is kind of hard coded in our program. So like in this case, this is the string which is enclosed in the double quote, and this is going to be assigned to the variable name value. We can also read the data from the keyboard. So in the scanner class there's a method called next line which is going to read the whole line, so it includes all the blank spaces. So like for multiple words, it's just going to read the whole thing. So once we read that in, we can actually assign it to a variable. Okay. Now where can we get more information about the string class and its method? We can go to this website, and I will actually show you how that page look like and what kind of information is available in just a minute. Okay. Now it has many different methods that we can use, but here are some of the methods that we are going to that I'm going to talk about. So I'm going to talk about jar add. I'm going to talk about length to lowercase to uppercase. I'm not going to talk about the equals and equals ignore case. These are the methods which I use to check for the equality of the string, but I will talk about this in the next tutorial in which I will talk about the using if statement in Java. Okay, so let's go and see how this works. So let's go to the website first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Google, and then I'm just going to say Java string API. Now when I go to this page, okay, let me actually make it a little bit bigger. So at the top it kind of describe how the string is stored, but we are not going to worry about that because we don't really need to know how it works. We just need to know how to use it. And then of course there are there are ways it shows you how things are initialized and everything, but the thing that we are interested in the method. Okay, so here is the complete list of all the methods, and so like I can click on the name of the method and it's going to take me to the section of the page where it will have more information. So let's kind of click on this. So it tells you that it returns the char value at the specified index, and the index range from 0 to length minus 1. So the length is basically the number of characters that you have in the string, including all the blank spaces. So it counts all the, like for multiple words and there are blank spaces between those words, then it's going to count everything. But it always starts from the 0. So the first character of your string is going to be at index number 0, and the last one is going to be at length minus 1. So if you have a string of length, let's say 10, the first character is going to be at index number 0, and the last character is going to be at index number 9. Okay, and that's kind of really important to remember, because if you try to if you insert an invalid value in the index, it's going to give you an error. Okay, so let's actually go and give it a try and write some Java code. Okay, so let me start my JGraphs. I'm going to start a new Java file, and I'm going to start with importing my scanner class because I'm going to ask the user for the string. And you don't have to yeah, import the string class because it's already included in your project. So let's start a class. Okay, and then let's start a main method. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create my scanner object. And let's declare some string variables. And I can actually declare more than one variable in the one single statement. Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to actually ask the user for some input. Okay, before I do this, let me just show you one more thing that we can do. So let's say, I'm also going to add one more. So I can also kind of, initialize a variable by assigning it using a string literal. So I can say type equal address. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually display as the data was entered. Now this plus sign is just kind of going to combine all this data that is stored in the city, state and zip code into one single string, and that's what's going to be displayed. Now instead of doing this, I can also kind of create another variable. So I can say string let me actually kind of redo this. Let me move this out of here. And then what I can do is I can also kind of use this to display all the information on one single line. So I can just say um, okay, so let's give it a try and see how it works. Okay, so let's save it. So I'm going to enter my information. And I see that in the first case, here's my street address, and then my city and zip code was combined into one single string and displayed over here. And then this is the second process that I used to kind of display the same thing, kind of combined into one single string. Now let's kind of try to do some other manipulation. So I'm going to actually comment this out, and then what I'm going to do is I want to convert everything into uppercase. Now I can also do the same thing, like if I want to convert it into a lowercase. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just say address equal to okay. So it's going to do, it's going to take the string that is stored in the address, and it's going to convert it into uppercase, and then again it's going to store it back into the same field. Now I can actually create another variable and store it in another variable, but I'm kind of going to use the same one. Okay, so let's do the same thing with everything else. So I'm going to change city and the state into uppercase in the same way. I don't have to do anything with the zip code because it is just zip code is just they're just numbers, so you can't really convert them into uppercase. Okay, now let's go and actually display everything again. So I'm going to actually copy and paste this. As you know, what I'm going to do is I'm also going to put a string in there. Okay, so let's go and compile this and go to our run window, clear out everything and redo it. So 123 Main Street, and then what I'm going to do is okay, so now into the city, state, zip code. So as it is, and then the address in the uppercase. So see that everything, all the letters in my address have been converted into uh, uppercase letter. Okay, now this can really helpful, like if you want to make sure that your output look neat and clean, like if you're asking some user for the input, so they might actually, I mean, we don't really know how they're going to enter the information. So they might actually enter everything in lowercase, or they might enter everything to uppercase. So you can actually convert it to whatever the case we want. So if you want to convert everything into lowercase, we can also do that. So to convert into lowercase, what we'll do is, instead of using two uppercase, we'll use the two lowercase method over there. Okay, now let's actually do one more thing. So I want to know the length of my address. Okay, so and I can use the length method for that. So I'm going to say address. I'm going to create another variable called address length equal to dot. Now keep in mind that because I'm using a method, so I need to put those open closing parentheses at the end. Okay. Okay. Well, let me actually put this in two lines so we can actually see the whole thing. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's go and compile this again and go to our run window, clear out everything and then run it. Okay, so it tells me that there are 15 characters in your address. So if I go and count, now it also includes the blank spaces: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15. So that's exactly what the size of my string is. Okay, now let's also try to extract characters out of our string. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go and do this, extract. Now the extracted character, when I will use the char add method, so I can say city dot char add. It's going to return a character, so I need to kind of save it in a variable of type character. So I will say char first and then I need to kind of give it an index number. So I'm going to give 0, so that is going to get me the first character of my city name. Okay, now yes, another thing that I can do, if I want to know get the last character, or let's say let's try second character. Okay, let's try one more. So I want to know the last character. Okay, I'm going to do something else in here because I don't really know what the size of my city is going to be. So I'm just going to say, okay, so this part is going to get me the length of my city, the number of characters in my city, and then I'm going to subtract 1 because the last index of my string is always going to be length minus 1. So this is going to give me the number of characters of the length, and then I'm going to subtract 1, and then I'm going to get the character from that position. Okay, so let's actually print this out too. Okay, let's actually fix this thing. Okay, so I'm going to do this over here. Okay, so let's give it a try. Let's compile it. No error, that's good. So let's go and run it. Okay, so first character, now remember I converted into uppercase, so that's why all my characters are shown in uppercase. First character is D, second is E, and the last is R. So we got D, E, and R. Okay. Okay, so that's it for this tutorial. I hope this is going to help you with your homework. If you have any question, let me know.